No dogs sold or raised for illegal purposes. This is a historical and entertainment-based channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey. Episode 37, yeah. Some recipes cooked up fresh from the Midwest. The Hank helicopter rides through the Great Lakes. Gaines and Ramrod and the Ohio sauce. Let us analyze the evidence on this episode of Bulldog Court. Bulldog community, please rise. This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game.
Court is now in session.
Oh yeah. Another episode of Bulldog Court. This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game. I'm so happy that you could be here with me tonight. You could have been anywhere else in the Bulldog streets, but you're here with your boy, and I'm so happy that you did your underdig. Like I say every time, I try to get it out the way, man. I am not the judge nor jury, for it is up to you, the Bulldog community, to decide which way the tide may roll. So I like to thank everybody that came and kicked it with your boy during the Bulldog Court episode 36. And then after that, we went to the live after show, Bulldog Court live after show episode 36, where we talked about all the subjects, all the cases that we had. Shout out to Nonstop, J-Bo, Cosmic Cal, Pressure Kennels dropped in, man. Salute the Pressure for dropping in. King T, the young legend, dropped in, and man, we just had a blast, man. We went in on all things, and then got into some other subtle nuances, man. If you didn't, if you missed that episode, if you missed that after show, right after this one, you might want to check that one out. It might have been a classic, but it's nothing without the Bulldog community, man. It's really nothing without you all who make it all possible, man. Y'all go in the chat room and make everything interesting. Things that we, insight, a lot of things that we might have missed out on. So another perspective of looking at something. Well, I might have missed that point. You come in and, hey, people in the chat might say, what about this? What about that? What about a combination of the two? How about that? It's like, man, you got a point. You got a great points. And we looking at different, aspects of the game to try to get a hold of the game. As a matter of fact, this episode will have a bit of a Midwest theme to it. This comes from being inspired by the after show. Shout out Cosmic Cal. Shout out Prophet Google. Shout out Mad Doctor. Shout out Bobby Digital. Shout out Pressure Kennel Combine. And everybody from the Midwest that was in the chat, man. I'm not gonna cover every single thing, so don't get at me like, man, you missed all the other dogs that was over there. Some dogs like SWAT Team's Grand Champion, Flash, I covered. I already covered that case. The Firecracker, by way of looking at Polly, his dam, I pretty much covered. And I think there are some others, that I may have already covered from the Midwest, but I know those two right off the top of my head that I covered. I'm not gonna prolong the time. For my first case, some recipes cooked up fresh from the Midwest. Oh yeah. And because of that live show and people were going in, throwing in, even shout out Going Hard, and the twins was even in there throwing in different recipes and names of different animals with the sauce on it. You know what I'm saying? Had the peppers and onions, the bell peppers, all that, mushrooms. Yeah, they were throwing them in. They were talking about Hendrick. They were talking about, some of the combinations. Mad Doctor always talking about the combinations. He always giving away recipes. And I want to start with talking about Thrift Champion Bumper. You know, off of Grand Champion Art. You know, Art, you know, came from Texas up to Adams and Crutchfields in the Midwest. Beat Jocko's brother, Champion Argo. You know, that's one of his notable wins. Art got bred to Bunce's Ruby. Ruby was pretty much a Hemp Hill Wilder, Kobe and Klaus blood. So kind of like Eli Kobe, OFRN, with a bit of Trey Hand Rascal through Cotton Bullet throwed in. You see what I'm saying? So this the type of stuff, shout out Mad Doctor, this the type of stuff that he always talking about. You know, in a certain sense. We're going to get to what he really loved on the next case, but we talking about some of the other sauce with the Kobe, the Old Family Red, with the Eli. We've heard this conversation. Shout out to my brothers over there at Bulldog with Bo on Dogman TV about some of the secret sauce that was going on down south. And they was not really telling you that, you know, they had a little bit of an Old Family Red, throw it in there. You know, you wondering why all these, you know, this one red dog sitting on the yard amongst all these black dogs, and they telling you, hey man, that's not my dog. That is not my dog. Before you even open your mouth, that's not my dog. Okay? So, and realizing that maybe that was really a part of the secret sauce. Another one of the dogs that was up in the Midwest at one time was, of course, Adams Grand Champion Zebo. We're going to look in at Fitch's Diamond Gem. You know, all Zebo bred to Fitch's Mean Jolene. Mean Jolene was a half brother sister breed off of Adams Grand Champion Kingfish. Another recipe. Oh man. Oh yeah, that's some more sauce that you throw into the gumbo. On top of that, and then another part also too is down in the Lake Erie area. You know, you had Hendrix and Cosmic Spider with the Hendrix blood, which is a, you know, Hendrix is really just basically a bunch of Kobe, but a little bit of it in the pedigree of Cosmic Spider was Komosiski's Jack, which goes back to Grand Champion Kager. Yeah, that's right. Clark's Grand Champion Tramp, you know, is another name for him. And so, you know, they bred Cosmic, you know, Spider to Zebo to get, of course, Steps, Ruby, you know, they bred her to Adams, who was that? Stubblefield's Grand Champion Buddy, and got Adams Champion Kate. They bred her to Art one time and got Adams Champion Queenie. They bred her to Zebo and got Steps Champion Willie, and I think Miss Willie too. You know, that might be the same Miss Willie that lost to Valero, if I'm not mistaken, that Supernat had. You know, somebody will be able to correct me if I'm wrong. Fat Bill, if you hear this, you'll be able to amen if it was right. Correct me if it's wrong. That I think the one off of Zebo bred to Cosmic Spider is the one that lost to Champion Bolero. But if you look at this just like a, you know, combination into a lock, then you will see that any one of these combinations I just named is a recipe for victory during a certain time period in the Midwest. And some people say that any one of these combinations could get the job done for you. Whether you put the Old Family in the Kobe with the Zebo, whether you put it with the Kingfish, whether you put it with Grand Champion Art, or you just said, man, hell no, let's just go and do a gumbo and just throw it all in there. We're going to just do all of them. Just put it all in there. Then that would have worked back then also. And then too, remember what I was saying last week about geography and how that can influence you in Bulldogs. This so happened to be one of these instances where there were some great animals around them to breed to and then make some awesome blends together. This is a great example. So I just wanted to touch on this. And for the case of some recipes cooked fresh from the Midwest, this case, is now dismissed. We'll get back to the show after these important messages.
Check out one of the best dog talk shows out here, Bulldoggin' with Bo, on Dogman TV, Thursdays and Sundays, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Shout out to his co-host, Nonstop.
Oh, yeah. And for my second case, the Hank helicopter rides through the Great Lakes. Oh, man. Everybody know who I'm talking about. The helicopter. The helicopter. Burton's grand champion Hank. The helicopter. Yeah, he flew in to the Midwest in the Great Lakes area. That's right. All the way up from the Northeast he came. He spun over there too. He spun over there mightily. And, you know, Jarrod didn't even let him stay for a little while before he got him down the road to Captain America. But his animals, they had a style.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog.
They had a style.
Come on, man.
And when we looking at the Midwest, we looking at the Hank dog, we gotta kind of start with Bunts and Company's or Nunes champion, New York. Now, New York is off of Jarrod's Peak, right? So, Jarrod's Peak is off of Grand Champion Hank, bred the Pinky, Jarrod's Champion Pinky, which is a very heavy Corvino's Teddy female. Shot time. All right, they took Pete and bred the Bucks 50-50, which is, you know, got the Rascal Jr. and Honey Bunch. You know, the Rascal Jr., aka Told Joe, off of Rascal and Honey Bunch, bred to Uptown's Boots, which is heavy Eli. It was a heavy Eli bred female. You know, Eli 3, Boudreaux Bowles in there to get Bunts and Company's champion New York. Now, he was a grand champion. I want you to take that in mind, that he was a 5-time winner, 1-time loser, the last one. Okay. Now, he produced Doucette's champion Bam Bam, POR. And get what? They put even more Hank on the bottom side to make Doucette's Bam Bam, champion Bam Bam. It was Hank to death. So, boy, I know a lot of people were dizzy at the box. I'm talking about that joker Bam Bam probably was spinning 100 miles per hour. Boy, what my darn helicopter sound effects is. Yeah. And then, Doucette champion Bam Bam produced original bounty hunters champion Turk. And they bred Turk to another champion, original bounty hunters champion Murder One. And that will produce original bounty hunters champion Shorty. Now I want y'all to see the succession from Grand Champion Hank to once upon a time Grand Champion New York, which demoted down to champion after the loss. Then champion Doucette's Bam Bam. Then champion bounty hunters, original bounty hunters champion Turk to bred 2 original bounty hunters champion Murder One. And that will produce original bounty hunters champion Shorty. And they bred Shorty to Bastien's champion Radar to produce Triple J's, or at one time original bounty hunters grand champion Street Sweeper 7-time winner. Now, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but you can put that kind of succession up there with Yellow and the Yellow, and then Mayday, and then Liu Kang, and then this one, then Miss Liu Kang. I know those are all grand champions, and I don't think, it's kind of hard to do that. But that many champions getting bred into each other to the point that grand champion to produce once upon a time grand champion to champions bred into each other to champions bred into each other to champions bred into each other, breeding to each other to the point that you get grand champion Street Sweeper, you know what I'm saying? At least 3 or 4 generations of champions being bred to champions to eventually produce grand champion street sweeper. I think that says a mouthful about the Hank blood. That says a lot about the durability of those animals. It's kind of hard to get bit. I guess if you spinning like 100 miles per hour, I don't know. But I just want to lay this out here. And, you know, shout out to Mad Doctor, man, because I know he was going to be in the comment section heavy if I did not talk about New York, if I did not mention Grand Champion Hank, if I did not mention, hey, you could throw some Kobe in there with Doucette. Hey, you throw you a little bit of, you know what I'm saying, some Zebo. Oh man, a little bit of Old Family Red. Oh man, you're cooking with hot grease now. You know what I'm saying? So, I just want to touch on the Hank dogs and that helicopter. And it came through and flew over the Great Lakes and made a heck of an impact. You gotta give it to them. They made a heck of an impact. They made a heck of an impact in New York, up in the Northeast. But heck of an impact. Shout out to them. Shout out for the folks that, you know, they use that blood. Shout out to, of course, you know, Hank. I want you to just really take a tally on how much impact for all that funny style, spinning and scratching and snapping, how much of an impact that Hank dog had over this game at a certain time period. And even still now, Hank blood is still around in the inside of the balls dogs. And these people don't go to Florida bad mouthing a Hank dog or balls. Man, you liable to get a chopper put on you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Put a chopper right on you. Talking bad about in the balls. And they got the Hank blood in there. You know? Those people who still in the West Coast, who got some of the little boots left over from the Hank blood. And then by way, you know, crossed in with the Jimmy boots. Still very much impactful, you know, still very much a bloodline that you could probably find out here. You know, I think the boot stuff few and far between, but nevertheless, you can't knock the impact back then that Hank was having on the game. He had his time in the sun. You can't deny it. And on all coasts, think about that. On the East Coast, he had his time. In the Midwest, he had his time. For sure, down in Florida, Dirty Mary made it his time and continued his time down south. And then, Little Boots out west. WNP's champion Little Boots out west. Now, that'll be a good question for the Bulldog community to propose. Who else, let me say, other than Mayday, other than Frisco, cause they are worldwide, other than Jeep, I'm gonna say those three. And Yellow, I'll say him. Other than those four, Jeep, Yellow, Mayday, Frisco. Jeep, Yellow, Mayday, Frisco. Whatever. What other stud dog made that kind of an impact other than the ones I named? Cause we know those are worldwide household names. But what other ones? Can you name another one other than those other ones I named? From coast to coast, they did their thing. They were hell when they were well. So I just want to, you know, touch on Hank. Let me give him his proper due. Burton's grand champion Hank and his son champion New York. And to show you the succession of great dogs down from that lineage in the Midwest. So in the case of the Hank helicopter rides through the Great Lakes, this case is now dismissed. Oh yeah. For my third and final case, Gaines and Ramrod and the Ohio sauce. When I speak on this, I'm speaking specifically at a certain breeding pertaining to 2 males and 1 female. One male is Ramrod's Tramp. Other one is Miller's Champion Cobra. And this one female by Kenny Gaines of Gaines and Companies in Ohio called Gaines Mama, which is off of, I think it's Gaines Fargo and Gaines Bahama Mama. But Gaines Mama is a littermate sister to Grand Champion Timex. Okay, so it's basically a Turtle Buster Paladin cross. They took this female and bred the Tramp and got Vietnam Kennels and Lonnie's Champion Rose 4-time winner, Lunsford's Champion Sinbad out of that breeding. When they bred Miller's or Marlowe's Champion Cobra, they got Miller's Smoky, 2-time winner, 1-time game loser. Bullard's Charcoal, 2-time winner. Now, that is a significant female because Bullard's Charcoal was bred to a midnight cowboy male called Thurman's Champion Too Short to produce R. Smith's Annie, 2-time winner, registered married. Shout out to Don Bullard. And of course, the Annie female is the dam of Black Champion Black Angel, Champion Cerulo, 4-time winner, Champion Paco, Champion Kimbo, Missy, 2-time winner, Arrow, 2-time winner, Eli, 2-time winner, Petty, 1-time winner. So, and the list goes on and on as far as that is concerned. All started from this one cross of 2 Ohio dog men, Ramrod with the Tramp dog and Kenny Gaines. Still to this very day, that is Ohio sauce. Don't get it twisted. It can be found in a lot of different other places, but don't ever get it twisted that combination, like when you see like Bumps Champion Gold or Grand Champion Smoking Joe or Willie Jr., Grand Champion Willie Jr., all of that is just a spin on a sauce that was started in Ohio with putting, Plowboy's Champion Willie, which is a Red Boy Turtle Buster male, with a Jeep Red Boy or the Silk female registered married to produce all those 2 Grand Champions. And she was able to get bred a different kind of way and produce, Champion Gold and many others. So that combination has worked. That sauce has worked over and over again, but make no mistake that it also started, I'm forgetting one, I believe that's Lunsford's Lace, 1-time winner, is another one out of that. And I believe they repeated that. I remember hearing Mau Mau talk about that from Mau Mau Kennels, talk about they were trying to get dogs out of that litter, but Ramrod wouldn't sell them any because those dogs were just complete animals at that time. But they were really trying to get, some of that stuff. And I think he may have even repeated that breeding before, if I'm not mistaken. But I just want to touch on this in the final part of this Midwest edition of Bulldog Court. Like I said, I wasn't going to cover them all, but I just wanted to touch on some that maybe was mentioned in the chat. So for the case of Ramrod and Gaines and the Ohio sauce, this case is now dismissed. Oh yeah. Now it's time for my closing monologue. Like I say every time, make your next move your best move, but move strategic, like a chess move. Hey, it's getting closer. February the 15th, will be here before you know it. South Bottom Show, New Iberia, Louisiana. Be there or be square, man. I think it's gonna be the who's who in the Bulldog Talk streets up in there, man. I'll be in the building. Y'all already know. This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game. I'm out.
Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, and tell a dogman or woman about the Sporting Dog Archive.